Okay, so Ehab, we are recording now. Um, I always say this in the beginning, this interview will be made public, and if in any moment you want to have it removed again from public, we will also take it down again. Okay?
Yeah, no
Okay.
problem.
All right. So then let's start. Just as a start of the interview, could you just introduce yourself a little bit and just say what you are, who you are, what you do, maybe your age, whatever you want to share?
All right. Well, my name is Ehab Malaka, and I'm 31 years old. Well, 30, about to get 31. And I'm a biomedical engineer. I've studied in Germany and worked there. I've been there for 10 years, and then I've decided to come back home in Palestine, exactly in Gaza. And I haven't had a, a big career because I didn't work a lot in Germany or here. Even I've been here only for 3 years. So what I wanted to accomplish after I finished studying, I couldn't because of the obvious reasons here in Gaza. And well, if I want to introduce myself, it's enough to say that I'm Gazan because the last 18 years we've been besieged, and yes, I've lived in Germany. I've studied in Germany. I've never been there um, to stay there. So any Gazans would clearly tell you that we had a little life, not a full life. So um, our ambitions as Gazan people or Palestinians in general are very, very small because we're not allowed to work, we're not allowed to have good water or electricity. I mean, as long as I remember, there were no full hours electricity or good water to drink. As long as I remember, we had to carry it well, to carry it from somewhere to with barrels and stuff to get it home from. It was always like this. So the myth about that it started last year is just never have been less true. Um, it's just a catastrophe that have been happening since 1984, 1948, sorry.
Mhm.
And I would like just to clarify about this situation of the Palestinian living to the people outside who thinks that it's just suddenly happened. You know, this war that just suddenly happened, and that everything that happened is because of the terrorism that the groups here in Gaza did, which is completely not true. It's just a reaction to what's have been happening for many, many years. And I'm not ashamed to say that we have the right to defend ourselves. You know, many Palestinians here, especially here in Gaza, would fear to talk publicly about this stuff because they might be get targeted. They most likely they will get targeted. But for me, after losing everything, practically everything, homework, life, everything that matters to me. I mean, even half of my family or two-thirds of my family is now apart from us. We're living apart. We're not living together anymore. So after losing all of this, it's there's nothing else, or there's not much more to lose for us to not be brave enough to share this message,
Mhm.
even if it means death or that you would be literally just targeted from drones or whatever. So I'm really open for any question you have.
Yeah. You said you studied in Germany,
Yeah,
but it was never your goal to stay there. You always wanted to go back, right? So Gaza
of
is
course,
your home of choice in that sense, right?
of course,
Yeah.
of course. So, because deep in my heart, I have always felt like this is my identity. Yes, I'm a Muslim. Yes, I'm an Arab, but I am a Palestinian. This is my identity. This is who I am. And well, Palestine exists if you recognize it or not. This is not the issue for us as people who were born here in Palestine. It's not an issue if you recognize us as a state or not, because we are Palestinian. We exist. You know, this is my home. This is my land. Yes, Germany is an amazing place to live in, but um, it's not my home. I
Mhm.
mean, I've learned German. I've been in Germany. I know almost a lot about living in Germany because I've been there for 10 years. I mean, it is amazing, but it's not my home. It's not where
Yes.
my family is. It's not who I am. I deserve, as the rest of the Palestinian people, to have my own identity, our own identity, and our own state. It's that
Yeah.
simple. We are just simple people. As I said, we're not very ambitious because we weren't allowed to. We're just looking for a normal, civilized way of living. That's all.
Understood. So we already talked a little bit before starting the interview, and I mean, I think I already understood that you are not in your original home anymore, right?
Sorry, I didn't hear that. I'm not what?
You are not in your original home anymore. You
Yeah,
have
yeah,
also lost your home, right? Can you
yeah.
talk a
But
little bit about what happened and how it happened?
yes, of course. Well, uh, at the beginning, it was like we thought it would be like as any other escalation that happened in Gaza. You know, like we'd stay home, no work, no life, but still we should stay home until this conflict, until this escalation ends. As always, you know, it's always been like that in Gaza. There's an escalation. They kill as many as they want of people, civilian people, of course. You hope that your family is not one of the families that have been obliterated, but you stay home and wait for it to end, for any means. But this time, they have given us a choice actually to you can stay, but not to hope that you will not be one of the families that would be completely killed. Because if you stay, you will be killed. That's the choice they give us. If you stay in in Gaza City, you and your family will be killed. This was very clear from the Israeli military forces. So you have a choice. You can't stay, but you will die or go out. I mean, there are officials saying that it's a voluntarily evacuation. It has never been. Not in 1948 and not today. It's the same ethnic cleansing ideology that the colonizer had. They want us out of the land and they force us out of the land, out of our homes. So we went to Khan Yunis, and then in Khan Yunis, we went to a United Nations place as a refuge place, and we've stayed there. It was beyond and exceeds horrible. It was really beyond horrible. I mean, it was like we had to live all like there was 5,000 people in uh, in one apartment or something like that. You know, it was a lot of people just on the floor with no means of living, with very little water, one bathroom for every 2,000 people or so. This was the biggest issue. It was crazy, just crazy. But we had to stay there because there was no other safe place to go.
Yeah.
And we've tolerated all of that for it just
What
to end. We hoped it would end and we would go back home, but they have made us. This time they didn't give us a choice when we were in Khan Yunis at all. What they did is actually one night there was just a lot of fire, as I remember. It was like, you know, in movies, in World War II movies, when the soldiers go in the battle and there's just fire everywhere and bombardments and bombs going off everywhere. It was exactly like that, but even more horrible, louder, and you're in the middle of it, and you don't know if you're gonna get alive out of it. It was a long, long night. and we had to stay together, and no one could sleep, and it was just terrifying because at any moment you were subjugated to being killed, to being obliterated, you and your whole families and everyone you even know.
Mm,
The next day, when the morning came, the fire was a little bit um, uh, the firing, I mean, was not as much as in the night. It was a little bit better, but when I went outside, I saw Merkavas, I saw tanks just roaming around us, just surrounding us. So this time they didn't give us a choice at all because we are here, we will kill you, and they've killed a lot of people in front of us. Just and the tanks shot at buildings filled with people, filled with refugees. You know, people who are
mm,
just looking for a place to stay in. The people that have nothing to do with it. So that was I witnessed the ethnic cleansing myself. It was exactly that. That's what was happening. It's not voluntarily. It's not um, uh, a conflict or a war. They targeted civilians that have nothing to do with the war. They're not militants. They don't have what we don't. We didn't have any weapons. We just were looking for a safe place to stay in. But they shot and killed a lot of people there. A lot of people. So, and even when we got out of Gaza, I was shocked of something I would never forget when we were in the car and evacuating our home. They, the drones have shot 4 rockets at people. They're on the street. I've saw them with my own eyes, flesh, blood, explosions. Just even the people who evacuated, they shot at them. They killed them. And in Khan Yunis, again, they shot at people and killed them. And it's just like every minute in your day, you would ask the same question: is this real? You know, the whole people looking at us thinking, how is this happening? How is this genocide happening and no one's doing any living it? And every day asking ourselves, is this real? How could this be real? How is it? And anyway, I mean, this is not a movie or a game. It's a real life. But if you're targeting civilians, I mean, being a human, just being a human, would not allow you to target innocent civilians, children who have no weapons of being warriors or anything. You know. Um, so you stop thinking about that. You stop. You don't have time to think that this is a horrible genocide that is happening. At one
mm.
point, you just have to survive. You have to provide water for your family. You have to provide the living means for your family. So you don't even have the time to think about the life of your family. We evacuated again to Rafah. You know, me
Mhm.
personally, and a lot of us have thought that, well, we have brothers in Egypt that wouldn't allow us being killed there, right? Wouldn't allow the Israeli military because we don't have a military. This is just genocide. What a few thousands of people are resisting the colonizing Israeli army, but this is not a military. So we sought refuge in Rafah because we thought that. Me personally, I've seen the Egyptian soldiers just right there because we evacuated to the Egyptian borders. There was a lot of
Mhm.
Egyptian soldiers, so we've seen them. We've talked to them. They didn't reply at any of our questions because they had orders not to talk to anybody of us, to any one of us. But we've tried to talk to any
Mm.
of them. Just I remember some young people there asking them for just wood to make fire for food, you know, because there is no gas, no electricity, no nothing. So we make food on fire, like
Mhm.
the Stone Ages. Um, but yeah, some people ask the soldiers for wood or anything, but no replies, nothing. But we,
Did you also try to talk to them, to the soldiers?
yes, I've tried to talk to the soldiers, but no reply whatsoever. So I made fun of them.
So I mean,
Uh,
they just ignored you, like you're not there, like really no reply.
Sorry?
I mean, they really just ignored you, or like I mean,
Yeah,
they
yeah,
didn't say a
completely.
word. Yeah.
They said one word. One word I remember one of them said to us, uh, get the F out of here for us. Just get the F out of here. That's what one soldier told us. And yeah, sure
Oh,
enough, he's just a soldier. He's not an. I mean, I didn't take it personally or anything, but at least I thought they were manly enough not to let the Israeli soldiers come even near their borders. So we stayed there. We thought it's the right choice. And also, you don't have time to think. You just go with the people. All people went to Rafah. You know that.
mm,
1.5 million people were in Rafah. So we went there, stayed there, and said, well, there is nothing else to do. There's nowhere else to go. This is our last hope. I mean, Egypt had this agreement with Israel that the Israeli military cannot go there at the what's it called? Philadelphia,
oh, the line.
Philadelphia,
Yes. Hmm.
Philadelphia line, exactly. We thought because of this agreement and Egypt would defend their sovereignty, that the Israeli military wouldn't come there. But every
Mm,
time they've everyone have let us down.
mm.
Everyone in the world, even the Egyptians, especially the Egyptians. I mean, I see the airplanes up there throwing aid to the people, and I'm laughing. I'm just laughing. This is not for us. This aid is not for us. I've seen one of their boxes. They have nothing. What? They have what? Cooking oil. I have no gas to use this cooking oil or salt. You throwing salt. What is this? The things they are throwing. This is not for us. This aid. I'm gonna make it very clear. The U.S., Jordan, Egypt, United Arab Emirates, or anybody else throwing anything from the
Mm.
air, they're not doing this for us. Absolutely not. I've witnessed what that is and what's there inside of these boxes. They are
Right.
doing this for their people, to silence their
Mm-mm.
people.
Understood.
Need water. We need a ceasefire. We need a, a ceasefire right now because our children are being burned alive. I mean, for us grown men, we came to the point that we don't care if we die, but the children, man, even if they're not our own children, this
Right.
is not all right. This is not okay in any way, shape, or form. So the Egyptians have let us down. Every Arab nation have let us down. Every world nation have let us down. Even though it's very clear that it's a genocide, that we have no, the civilians have no place to go, and they're just slaughtering us one by one, and we're just waiting for your turn. That's all you can do. You survive the day by day and waiting for your turn uh, to be slaughtered, burned alive, shot, bombed. You know, you never know when or how it will hit you. But
And you
you
did
see,
change. Excuse me.
family
Yeah.
members dies, so you know it's coming.
And you changed your location one more time, right? Because now you're in Deir
One
el-Balah.
more time, they shot Rafah, as everyone knows. They bombarded Rafah, and a lot of people were killed. A lot of people were burned, and you just again had no choice. You have to go back. You have to go
So
anywhere.
when did you move
So
to Deir el-Balah?
that was like 2 weeks ago,
Two
I
weeks
think,
ago.
2 or 3 weeks ago. Yeah. Um,
Yes.
Even here, when we came here, still bombardments, and there is no place safe. As I said, you just wait for your turn to be killed because this is a genocide. I mean, I wanted to make something very clear. I'm making this podcast and I'm sharing this message, even though it might be dangerous for myself, but I'm not making it for the people who deny that it is a genocide, or people who don't understand the reality of what's happening. I'm sharing this message just to let people who wants to understand the situation here in Gaza. But the people who denies that this is a genocide or an ethnic cleansing, they have something more. They're ignorant. This is the least I can say. And this message is definitely not for them because we're not
Yes.
apologetic anymore. I'm not going to apologize for us defending ourselves. I mean, if you kill every living soul here in Gaza, we will retaliate in every means we have. We will fight back because we're humans.
Mhm,
This is our right.
mhm.
And I'm not ashamed of saying that we will do it anyhow we can.
Yeah. So how, I mean, you're the newest person that we interview, obviously. Like we started interviewing in January of people who maybe
Yeah,
also evacuated early. So can you talk a little bit about how your thoughts or your hope or maybe your look on life has changed since October to now? How your mentality has changed?
sorry, the question is what I hope that's going to happen next.
Well, no, just maybe like how you started I mean, the war started, and probably you thought it's an aggression that ends again quite soon.
Yeah,
Can you talk a little bit about how your everyday thoughts have changed in the meantime?
yeah, sure. Before this October 7th situation, I've always believed that this maybe the conflict ends, but the war doesn't. We
Mm,
are in a constant war with the Israelis because they are colonizers. That was clear for me and every other Palestinian. I believe. I believe. So the ongoing war wasn't something surprising to me. What was the Israeli genocide wasn't also a surprising thing to me because even in escalations they always killed whole families and civilians voluntarily. It's not like a mistake. It's not a collateral damage or whatever they name it nowadays, but it was voluntarily killing innocent people because this is the only way they can't hurt us. They can't fight resistance groups underground. Obviously they can't. So the only thing they can do is hurt us by killing our children and whole families. This is the
mm,
only way they can inflict pain on us as a collective. So they've been doing this always. But what was surprising to me this time is the rest of the world, not only the Arab world, because I know that the Arab world is as colonized as Palestine. The leaders of Arab worlds are definitely uh, not interested in making better lives for their people. I mean, they're dictators. They just controlling the lands as Israel is controlling Palestine. That's that's clear to me. But the rest of the world, or the so-called free world, it was a little bit surprising to me that they're not free, actually, because as a collective, there in the West, it's clear that the people want a ceasefire, you know, but it's
mm,
not happening because, again, it's not a democracy. It's not a free world. Only few people who are actually controlling the world. This is why Israel doing what they're doing and with no consequences, with no one can even say no to them. No one leader in the world. Um, well, some have said no, but no one have really taken any measures to ensure that this war would stop. No one,
right.
not one single leader have done any real thing on the ground or to actually make hurt Israel to stop this genocide. Not, I can't think of anyone.
Mm,
So I was surprised that the world is. So I mean, I've known before that the world wasn't free. That these democracies are lies, but I didn't know that it was to this extent. You know, as it's now obvious. I mean, we call this genocide. It's how to put it in English. It uncovers everything. This
Right.
genocide uncovers the whole world. Here on the ground in Gaza, it uncovers every person, how they are, what they are, how they really are. Because when you get to the point where it's a life and death situation, you can't put a mask on your face. You are who you are. So it uncovers everyone personally here in Gaza. And for the nations, it uncovers really what the leaders of the world are about, what their morals are, what their standards are, and it also uncovers to us, Palestinians especially, and Arabs in general,
Mm,
that Western nations, people, are not that bad. I mean, we've suffered of their governments in Iraq, in Syria, in Yemen, and a lot of our countries, but there is a perception that um, the Western people and nations are like that, but when the students have stood up and a lot of Western people have stood up, it made it
mm,
clear for us and the rest of Arabs that the Western nations are not as bad as their governments. There's still good in them, and we still bet that whenever we are free here in Gaza, the rest of Arab world, or here in Palestine, the rest of all the Arab world will get to be free, and then the
mm,
rest of the whole will have the chance to get free. But this is exactly my message: is that this conflict is not only about Palestine. It's not only about
mm,
Gaza. We are in this fight just because we are against what this new world order, you know,
mm,
what they call new world order. We just refuse to live under their standards.
mm,
We
mm,
just
mm.
refuse to live controlled by them,
Right.
by, by, by the Western ideologies. We refuse a lot of their principles, but
Mm,
Gaza is the only place who actually fight for it.
mm.
So this fight is not only for us; it's, I believe, for the rest of the world too,
Right.
to give them a chance
Ehab,
to actually true.
Ehab,
Yes.
we will go in the end once more to kind of more the politics or the mentality going with it. Can I, for a moment, circle back once more, and
Okay.
we talk first about your living situation right now, because I think we haven't really gone into this much yet. So can you go once more into the more practical thing of how you live right now in Dir al-Balah, in what constellation or even in what building or other thing?
Well, as for a long time, we've been living in tents, and with the bathroom situation is always a very difficult thing because when you live at home, as most people do, you don't realize how important this stuff are. The infrastructure, they call it, I guess. It's a basic living, uh, basic basic living necessities.
Mm,
And if you go somewhere like in Rafah, in the desert, you have no infrastructure there at the borders at least. Um, so what people did, they dug up the ground and put barrels deep down in the ground to make, to make a system for the bathroom.
mm,
And this was very difficult, not too very, it was very disgusting and very difficult, and everyone had to do it. You get real. This situation makes you get real. Living in a tent, have to make your own bathroom, to have to bring your water for drinking, for showering, for everything. It's just, yeah, we don't have jobs, but we do a lot more than even having a job. I mean, you have to be, you needed to be busy all the time just to get the necessities that you need for everyday living.
Can
And
you talk a little bit about that? What keeps you busy during the day? What the chores are that you have to do during the day?
the chores, yeah. Most importantly, you have to make sure that you have enough water to drink. So you have to carry it sometimes from a long distances, and it's really hard. It takes a lot of power, a lot of work, and only that's only just for water. And other things you have to do is making sure that um, you have enough money to buy food. So you go maybe find any kind of work. Most people here in Gaza nowadays just buy and sell stuff to get little money just to get what they need for food. I mean, it's very difficult to have. I mean, we have been hungry as a collective here in Gaza. Everyone, like literally everyone, have gone hungry, even the little ones. Not only in the north, but also in the south. Once we had almost nothing to eat. So ensuring that you have enough food, water, and you have I mean, I've done it, me and everyone, I guess. We had to cut up trees, wood from trees to make fire. So um, it is very difficult, by the way, to cut wood to or even making fire. It's not as easy as it might sound or an imagination. It is really hard to do. And you don't just cut wood, you make fire, you bring water. This is the chores that almost every single one here have had to do, and they
Mm,
are very difficult. I mean, we've taken that for granted. Um, Even here in Gaza, not only in Germany, I took it for granted. The electricity, the gas, the water, the warm water. I've been showering for the last 4 months or so with cold water, even just
mm,
because it's very hard to make warm water for the showering. So
mhm,
to to save some time and effort
mhm.
and money for myself, I've been used now to shower with cold water, even in the cold. I'm just used to it now.
And I mean, the war has been going on for a long time now. So I wonder what changed in the conditions from winter to summer.
Well, it is. It was very bad for tents when it rained. You know, most of tents are not waterproof, so when there was rain, the people had to be awake all night to get the water out of the tents, and it
Mm,
was horrible. Again, it's no home. There is no roof, and it's just. Uh, I'm not sure I can describe it good enough, but it is definitely very exhausting. It was when it was rain, and now that it's summer, I mean, it's very hot. I mean, it's living in a tent in the summer. It's just well, it is not summer, so summer is coming, but I hope until then this would be over. But even now, it is very hot weather in the tent. You literally can't sit inside a tent in this weather at all. You can't. You just can't. It's so hot
mm,
that you have to sit outside.
right,
This is how horrible the weather conditions are for living in a tent.
right, right. And can you say, because I think we didn't talk about this, can you just say with who you are? You are with your family right now?
What about my
Are you
family?
with who are you living at the moment? I mean, you talk about family. Are you with sisters, parents?
M-
Just
Mother
so
and
we can
sisters
get an
are
idea.
living somewhere else right now, and me and my brother are living together.
Ah, I see. I see. And you, because you mentioned the buying and the selling, this is also what you do at the moment, right?
Yes, exactly.
Get some
Like
money.
yesterday I went and I bought some goods. Well, it was like I don't know how to describe it. Let's say some kind of food, right? From
Mm,
from one store, and I've gone to the market and I've sold it for a little bit higher. price. So I made a little bit of money. This is the only way um, to have any money because there's no any other way. And no matter how much money you have, the war going on for so long, you've spent everything. I can guarantee you that no one still have any money left. So it is depressing really to think about it because most of people have almost nothing nowadays. For me personally, if I don't do this, I won't have any money. I can't buy food then, and it is not like the aid is anywhere near enough. So what we get from aid is, as in the news, that it is not enough. For me personally, what a can of beans would do for you for a whole month, it's that much aid we get. It doesn't help at all. It's not
Mm,
like it's helping a little bit. It's not helping at all. They cut off food, water, electricity, everything. They destroyed the infrastructure, and they are killing us. So, to us, we accepted the fact that the only thing that can save us right now. Look, you can call the groups that are fighting, resisting in Gaza. You can call them whatever you want, but they are the only chance we have.
mm,
This is where the Western world have put us as civilians here in Gaza. That you're not doing anything for us. So the only thing that can save us are these groups.
mm,
Even if we don't agree with them, even if we don't want them or even hate them, but we literally have no other choice. What other choice do we have? They are our only hope of
mm,
survival.
mm,
Otherwise,
mm,
obviously, they will kill us all. Because it is a genocide that the U.S. is providing every means necessary for it. The
mm,
weapons, the political support, the logistical support, everything.
mm.
So how can anyone blame us if we don't trust the world right now?
And to also go to that once more, like could because we talked about food right now. Could you share like what your personal food situation is at the moment?
Yeah, for
Like how
me
much can
personally,
you? Yeah, please.
I can't tolerate gluten. It's
Mm,
very bad for me. So the basic thing here is bread, the basic food, and I can't even eat that. So for me, I have to work as hard as I can to get some money to get the food that I need because I can't eat bread. So I have most of my food is tuna fish, canned tuna fish because it's uh, it's the best thing that you can buy here. You
right.
don't have a lot of options. You either beans and tuna fish. This is my food right now. And it is exhausting to not have options of food. For the people,
Yes.
other people eat bread every day, all day. I don't know. It's just you're always
Mm,
hungry. You never. The feeling of being stuffed is is a luxury now.
right. Right. And can you talk, if we go more a bit into the mental part now, or the emotional mental part, can you talk a little bit about what is occupying your mind when it's not like the basic survival things of wood and food? What are the things that are kind of
Right.
like keeping your mind busy?
Well, occupying my mind is other than surviving this. Um, Maybe I don't know. I mean, we don't really have much of plans anymore. Before this war, everyone, me personally, maybe I had some plans for the future. But I mean, I built my own apartment in Gaza, and it's been destroyed. And
Mm,
I've spent every penny I have to build my own apartment. You know, and it's destroyed. So now, what plans could I have? my what occupies my mind right now is just um, living day by day, surviving day by day, and just waiting for this to end to get a ceasefire, not have a ceasefire. Because what I mean is, I'm not waiting for the world to give us a ceasefire. I'm waiting for the resistance group to make enough pressure to make this ceasefire a viable option. Um,
Mm,
and after this, we're just gonna rebuild it. This is what we think about. We're gonna rebuild Gaza. We're gonna rebuild everything that have been destroyed, no matter what. So it's not hope. It's just what we are set off to do right now because we are. This is our land, and we are staying here. We're not going anywhere. We
mm,
have to stop this ethnic cleansing. We have to stop it here. It can't go further. For me personally, if I'm gonna think about anything, I don't want to have children living the same situation that I've been through. So I have to make sure that this ends,
mm, mm,
and this must end. This colonizing must end. It's not, uh, no matter what the price is. We are paying the price right now. The price is free for freedom is always this high, but we
mm,
are paying this price, and we better make sure that this never happens again because I can't have children of my own that would live the same catastrophe we are living right now. So this
mm,
is our goals. This is our what we are striving for right
mm. Yeah, it's. I mean, this is remarkable for me because I feel we had many interviews with people, or I talk personally to people, and many say they don't see a future anymore in Gaza when the war ends. But you do say
now.
that you want to, you see your future still in Gaza. Did I understand that right?
Of course, definitely. We can't allow for all of this suffering to go for nothing. We can't allow this because we're humans. We're alive. Our heart's still pumping blood. So this suffering can't go for nothing. The people who have died for a reason here. The people who have suffered all this. I mean, I've lost a lot of family members, a lot of them, a lot of friends. This can't go for nothing. So my main goal, me and the majority of Gazans, is to rebuild, make a better future, and definitely make sure that this stops. This Zionism stops. Not
Mm,
only in Gaza, we will fight it. Not only in Gaza or Palestine, but all over the world. This Zionism, and I'm not saying Judaism or Semitism, I'm saying very clearly Zionism will stop. We'll make sure that it stops. Because no one, not only us, but no one in the world should suffer from this monstrosity, this evil. So this is our goal. Rebuilding, making 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 a better land, a better future for us, for the children, for the world. This is what the outcome of this genocide. This is the
mm,
only outcome of this genocide, whether we like it or not. Because
right.
if anything, this is a lesson for the whole world.
Mm,
Don't uh, don't sit there, watch evil win. Because there's a saying that evil is the absence of goodness.
mm,
So
mm.
you have to stand up for what's right, what's good, what's obviously better for the whole world. And I hope
When you,
this
excuse me,
teaches us a lesson.
when you see, I mean, you're following the news, it seems. When you see
Yeah.
the protests happening and the students and the demonstration, is that something that gives you hope, or is it something that seems very far from your actual reality right now?
Well, first of all, I get my hope from resistance groups. I made this clear.
Mm,
But for the students, I'm happy when I see that. I'm happy. I'm happy for them, you know, because they have something to stand up for. They
mm,
haven't given up. They're not have been completely enslaved by consumerism or whatever it's called. You know, the
mm,
capitalism system. I mean, I'm very happy to see that there's still free people in the world. This
mm,
um, makes me happy more than giving me hope, because my hope as a Muslim, I get my hope and my wishes from the Quran and from
right.
believing. And this is why we Gazans are still standing. This is
Mm,
the only reason, because we believe that, and even if we weren't Muslim, this is a just cause. It is our land. But to see the students standing up and fighting for what's right, this is really make me very very happy for them, because
mm,
they're good people. They haven't been brainwashed by the Israeli propaganda. They are they are smart enough to see through the iceberg that the Western world have have put between us and them. You know,
mm,
the Western world have put a big wall
mm,
between what's actually happening in the Middle East and in the East, and what the media represents there in the West. But these people have seen through,
mm,
and
mm.
that makes me very happy.
I have another question, which is a little bit more personal. So it's a little bit
Yeah.
about how do you feel that this war has affected your relationships with family, with friends, or with neighbors? Do you feel your role has changed in any way in the last months?
Yes, most definitely. I mean, the pressure, the immense pressure on everyone. It's uh, it's really unimaginable. And that, as I said, this war we call it the war that uncovers everything. So it uncovered everyone for their real personality, and that meant that you lose friends, you lose relationships, you maybe build new ones, but it definitely makes us closer to our real selves and our real reality. It, I've said it before. This war have made us, as Gazans, as Palestinians, as close as possible to reality. Not having an imaginative world out of movies and series that we have always seen, but actually be very close to reality and see people for who they really are.
Mm,
And it is hard and very difficult, because I've lost a childhood friend, a friend that my best friend actually. I've lost him because the immense pressure that have been put on us made us fight over and over again until our relationship came to an end. Right now, it's very difficult to talk to anyone actually, because everyone is nervous. Everyone is under immense pressure that only necessary. You would talk only about necessary stuff. You would talk only if it's there's a lot less of idiocy or ignorance, or it made us better people. I have to say this, because you only talk about real stuff, necessary things. I mean, I don't like it. Nobody like it, but I feel like it really teaches us as a collective to be better people.
mm,
I
mm,
hope we get out of this as better people.
right.
But it is definitely uh, something that I have never lived before. It's undescribably hard to live in such situations, because I mean, when we got out of our home in Gaza and they shot four rockets just behind us, 50 meters away, and I've seen the explosions, the people, the bodies flying around. One situation that I can never forget was that a father had gave me his own daughter, and just said to me, please take her with you, because I was in a car, and he was walking, so he was begging me to take his own daughter that he might never see again because of the horrific situation we were in. This kind of stuff it's not a movie, it's not a story, it's just reality. It's how ugly the world has come, have became. So I will fight for the rest of my life for the goal of making the world a better place to, as I said, not only me, we all as Palestinians, especially Gazans, will make sure that nothing like this happen again. From it's just very, very wrong, and this should stay in movies, not in real life.
Yes. Yeah. Um, I just also wanted to quickly mention we're slowly coming to towards the last part of the interview. Um,
Yeah.
I did want to mention that we did plan to make this interview, and you were going to go to an internet cafe. And in the end, you couldn't do it in the internet cafe. That's why you are on the street right now doing the interview. Um, and you said it had something to do with security reasons for the internet cafe. Can you just say a few words about that, maybe?
Yes, as everybody knows, Israel targets generalists very clearly. They just target them whenever they are, wherever they are. And they don't want for the truth to come out. This is clear now. They've killed hundreds and hundreds of journalists, very, very, very openly. Every time they are saying, we will investigate this. Who haven't they killed? Everybody. Aid workers, UN workers, medical workers. Um, there's- they bombed everything, hospitals. So it is definitely a security issue when it comes to generalism or just sending out a message to the rest of the world. It is dangerous just to talk or to share the situation here. That's why some people would prefer to not to do it at all because it is really dangerous. So that's why they banned me from doing this interview there in the cafe because they were afraid that they would be targeted.
Right.
And for me personally, I think it is immensely important for the message to get out as much as possible. I mean, mainly not only for us. As I said, my hopes are not dependent on the rest of the world, but
Mm,
this message is for you, actually. Well, not you personally, but for your listeners to understand that this fight is not only about us. You have to stand up
mm,
for what's right because you will never respect yourself. It's not a matter of a conflict. It's not a conflict between two sides. It's a genocide and ethnic cleansing. So you have to
mm,
stand up for what's right. If you don't, as I said, how would you respect yourself ever again? Because
mm,
it is a test right now for all the people around the world. There is no confusion about it. It's obvious that babies are being beheaded. It's obvious that people are being burned alive. It's obvious that there is mass graves everywhere in Gaza. It is a genocide. The the international court have clearly said that it is most likely a genocide. So there's no reason for anyone to be confused about this. So my message is please be true to yourself and stand up for what's right for your own
right.
sake, not ours.
Mm. So we're slowly wrapping it up. As I said, is there anything I didn't ask you about which you would like to talk about still? Or are there any memories that maybe you keep remembering which you would also like to share with us?
As I said, that memory from that father that gave me his own daughter, this I will never forget. Was very shocking to me.
Mhm.
And every time Israel makes uh, um, uh, Like every time when the Israeli military have bombed Al Ahli hospital and killed 500 people at once, I was shocked, and I thought and I said that this should be the end of the world. But then they've bombed another school and another mosque, and they've bombed another market, and every time I thought to myself, uh, every time I was shocked, not only surprised but shocked because this is not human. This is evil. This
Mm,
is just evil. It had nothing to do with history or military conflict or anything other than evil. You don't
mm,
kill as much people, civilians, children, um, as Israel did, unless you are the face of evil. And I'm not saying this because I'm a Palestinian. Anyone in the world who doesn't see that, they are then, I believe that they have something wrong with them. Because to me, it's very clear anyone is capable of doing this, they are evil. This is not a conflict. This is not a war. This is genocide and
mm,
it's evil. And we are in the
mm,
21st century. This should not happen right now. But it is, because evil's still there. And that's why I'm calling for everybody to stand up for it. Because if you allow it, if you allow for this to happen, then believe me, it's gonna get you. It's gonna get to you some way or another. It's gonna get to you. If you allow evil to go that far, then evilness will come to you
mm.
in many shapes or forms. You know what I mean? So, for your sake, again, stand up for what's right. Don't let this happen.
And that's maybe
That's
also, excuse me.
sorry.
No, I think it's also connected to the last question of the interview, which I normally always put to people, which is, why did you even do this interview with me in the situation that you are in? What is your hope for this interview?
Yes, exactly what I've said. It's my hope as I was. We're very happy of the students that see the truth and see through that wall that I've talked about. I'm hoping for your listeners to also see what's actually happening and stand up for themselves, to fight for their own sake, to fight for what's right, to fight for a really free world. Because the world we're living in right now is the opposite of free. It's really enslaved. A lot of people are enslaved, brainwashed. The propaganda, the media, the cinema, the movies, I mean, me included, we are very, very brainwashed. We are very, very far from reality, from what's happening in the world or what is our world. But this is a wake up call for everybody,
Mm,
not only us, but really for everybody. And my hope is for your listeners and the whole, all the people in the world to actually take this chance to make themselves better, to stand up for for the goodness that
mm,
there is still hope. As we've seen, the students have stood up, a lot of Jews have stood up, a lot of people have stood up, a lot of politicians have said something. So be aware of the people you elect. Be aware of your governments and what they do. I mean, uh, it's not only that you should stand up for what's right, but don't forget that you are Western, every Western nation is directly complicit because obviously the weapons, the money, the political support is coming from Western countries. So you are implicit. Especially Germany, by the way, because the German government is giving weapons, money, everything. They're supporting them politically in every way or means because they feel guilty about the Holocaust. Well, sure, you should feel guilty, but not support another genocide. So be aware, as Germans, you have to be aware of the people you elect, of your government, of what they do, so you won't be complicit. If you don't stand up, then you are complicit. Then you're okay with what your government is doing. And this is not only for Germany, but for every other Western country or Western nation or any nation actually in the world. If you don't stand up, then you are complicit. It's as simple as that. Because look at what your government is doing and then you think about it.
Yeah, thank
And
you so much.
um, no, thank you for this opportunity, and it was a good talk in my part.
Yes,
I hope you enjoyed it too.
absolutely. Thank you so much. I will end the recording and we can still continue to talk for a moment. Okay?
Yeah, sure.